So, from Kumaran Kulkadasan, and he's an undergraduate. He was the undergraduate batch topper with his BSc honors software engineering from University of West England. He's currently a researcher at Data Search University of Moratuwa, completing his MSc in computer science, and he's working in natural language processing. Yeah, I will let Kumaran talk about how he's using natural language processing to come up with a chatbot.
Thank you, Dr. Shyam, and good evening, everyone. I'm Kumaran Kulkadasan, and the project that I'm doing is developing a Tamil language chatbot for banking domain. So even though I'm talking about Tamil language chatbot, this approach can be used even to build chatbots in other low resource languages, including Sinhala. And this approach can also be adapted to other domains. I'm using banking just as a use case domain. And by the end of this presentation, you could see that how we can use the data which is already existing on the websites of businesses and how we can utilize that and come up with a very functional chatbot. So let's move into the presentation. So if you look at this diagram here, you could see there's a huge hype about chatbot after 2015, right? So this is based on the Google search term trend. So you might have experienced this in real time as well, real life as well. Like if you have gone to websites that you have been usually using during these times, you would have seen a bot popping up and asking, okay, how can I help you? So this is most common in English, but if you take local languages like Tamil and Sinhala and other low source languages, this has been lacking. So if you take Tamil language for an example, Tamil is a language which belongs to the Dravidian family of languages, and it has a huge sphere of influence in South Asia and Southeast Asia. And with the large diaspora living around the world, it has been estimated that the total population would be around 80 to 100 million people. So, but there is not any chatbot frameworks which cater to this population. So that was my motivation for doing this research. And as I said, like I'm using banking as a use case here. The reason I choose is, number one reason is like in banking the technology adoption is very high. So and another reason is banking is one sector where majority of the population engaged on a daily basis. So those are the two reasons for choosing banking domain. So before presenting my research, I want to give every one of you a basic idea about the taxonomy of chatbots, so how chatbot differ from each other, so that I can narrow it down to my particular research. So if you classify chatbots based on the application, you can do it in two ways. One is task-oriented, another one is non-task-oriented system. So what you basically mean by a task-oriented system is the goal of the chatbot is to make the user complete the task. So for example, let's take a chatbot which is designed to make a user reserve a seat at the restaurant. So when the user comes and asks, I want to reserve a seat, it will start with the question, okay, what kind of cuisine you are looking for? When the user answers that, it will move on and ask, okay, what kind of price range you are looking for, or around which area you are looking for. So it will actively ask questions to the user and direct him towards the end goal, which is making the reservation. So that is an example of a task-oriented chatbot. So when it comes to non-task-oriented chatbots, it doesn't actively ask questions. So when you ask a question, the system will be able to answer it. That's all. It will not actively ask because there is no goal it needs to achieve. So when it comes to classification based on scope, there is two kinds of chatbots. One is an open domain chatbot, another one is a closed domain chatbot. So by means of open domain, what I want to say is like if you ask questions across different domains, your chatbot will be able to answer. For example, if you ask about what is the weather today, it might say it is sunny. Then if you ask who won the Cricket World Cup in 2019, then it would say it was the English cricket team. So when you ask questions around different domains, it would be able to answer. But in the case of closed domain, the scope of the chatbot is limited to a particular sector or a domain. And if you ask any questions outside that, it might not be able to answer. So for example, if there is a weather bot, if you ask questions about what is the current temperature, it might be able to answer. But if you ask question about who won the Cricket World Cup, it might not be able to answer. It would say, I don't understand your question. So that is how you classify based on scope. finally, based on the technology that we use, we can divide it in two ways. One is rule-based, and another one is machine learning-based. So my research is focusing on non-task-oriented, closed-domain, machine learning-based chatbots. So if you look at existing approaches in literature, how they try to build a chatbots, there are two main branches, I would say. One is going for a retrieval-based system. So what I mean by a retrieval-based system is, in retrieval-based systems, the responses are already there. It's a fixed set, and the task of the chatbot is to take the user's input, and it may consider or it might not consider the context, and it uses the input and the context and try to find which is the best possible response I could give it to that from the set of responses it has. So again, we can use different approaches like rule-based approach or machine learning-based approach. The second branch is the generative system. So in generative system, the difference is the responses are generated from scratch. There is no fixed set of responses. So, but the challenge in this generative-based system is like you need a lot of language-related resources like post-taggers, morphological analyzers, and you need lots of we need a large corpus and expert knowledge. So these kind of researches are going on in high-resource languages like English, but for low-resource languages, we cannot go for these kind of approaches due to lack of resources. So for low-resource language like Tamil, the ideal approach is going to be a retrieval-based system. So the key challenge, if you think about a Tamil chatbot compared to a high-resource language like English, is first of all, we don't have a domain-specific corpus. For example, if I want to create a chatbot for banking domain, I need a corpus which consists data about the banking sector, which is not there for the Tamil language. And there is no sophisticated NLP tools like post-taggers, morphological analyzers, name entity recognizers, and things of that sort. So that is another problem that we have for Tamil. And apart from that, due to Tamil being a highly morphological rich language, you have issues with high inflections, free word order, and another issue that we've seen. So also common in single as well, like code mixing. People try to mix Tamil and English or single and English together. And finally, like none of the currently available chatbot frameworks like Alexa or Rasa or Dialogflow support Tamil language. So if you look at the literature, if you look at Tamil chatbots, there is one paper which is called a Pungalali chatbot, which uses a rule-based retrieval approach. But the problem that we have is the system or the data set is not publicly available, and also like it is not objectively evaluated. So the authors are saying that when the chatbot was given to the users accepted that the performance was good. And so the basic approach that they use was they get the user's input, and they identified the keywords from that. And from the keywords, they applied list of rules, and using that, they go and find the answer from the knowledge base, and they are coming up with the answer. So since there is no much work on Tamil, if I look at similar low-source language efforts, what I could be able to find was this is the latest papers that we have in 2018. This is done for Thai language. So this is again focusing on banking domain. So this has 2,600 question answer pairs. What they do is they take the question answers and they are categorizing the questions into different classes, and they have come up with 80 class, and then they do a question classification, and based on the question that they are classifying, they are retrieving the answers and showing. So the best performing model was RNN-LSTM, and it is showing an accuracy of about 83.9% on the test set. So this is another latest paper in journal paper in 2019. So this is done for Bengali language, and so in that, what they are doing is they are scraping data from a Facebook page of a consumer electronics site, and they are doing an oblique translation. So oblique translation means they are taking from English and translate in a way that the local nuances, language nuances are taken into account. And here also they have having 1,731 queries, and they are converting it to 91 classes. And the one special case here is they have a very limited number of queries per class, yet they were able to come up with a very good recall, around 89% for CNN. So in these two papers, there are other papers as well. These two are the key papers I'm looking at. And what you basically understand from this research is going on the low resource language is two things. One is you can convert a chat problem into a question or an intent classification problem, and by identifying the intents correctly, you will be able to come up with a very functional chatbot with high amount of accuracy. And even though they have a very small data set, they were able to come up with a good accuracy. So those are the two key takeaways from the literature that we see. So my methodology is like this. So first of all, I want to scrape the existing data which is available in banking sites in Tamil. Then so that is from the FAQ pages. Then once I got that data, what I'm doing is I'm trying to map each question to a particular intent, and then I'm using native speakers to generate more questions. So when you come to dataset, I will explain this a bit more. And finally, I'm going to build a classifier based on the dataset that I've created for the testing and training and evaluation. And finally, I'm going to retrieve answers based on the identified user intent. So when it comes to dataset creation, as I said, so I have scraped the FAQ corpus from the banking websites in Tamil. Then what I did was I mapped each question to an intent. So in banking corpus, in FAQ pages, you won't have redundant questions. The same question is asked in a recurrent way. So each question is mapped to one intent. Then a challenge we have is how we can capture the different ways the user might ask because of the inflectional variation that Tamil has. So to solve that, we have employed 14 native speakers, and they have been given an intent and a sample question scraped from online websites. Then they were asked to generate more variations of that questions or for that intent, how the native user would ask a question. So at the end of that data generation task, we were able to create a data set with the size 1412 statements, which belongs to 56 intents, and this is the data set that is being used to come up with the chatbot, to train and test the chatbot. So currently, we are in an intent classification phase. So in the intent classification, the currently best performing model is CNN along with FastX. So FastX is a word embedding that Karthika initially talked about, word embeddings to you. And I also have a class imbalance problem because some classes have less examples compared to other classes. Because for some intents, there are many ways a user can ask questions. For a few intents, the number of questions that can be asked is limited. So to counter this, I'm using I tried different approaches which is mentioned in the literature, but the best performing approach in our case was using a class weight to adjust this bias that we have. And so the Thai paper using LSTM had an accuracy around 83.90, and our best performing model currently have 98.72%. And one interesting thing that you can notice in this results is SVM based model is performing at around 96%, which is on par with other neural network models. So the reason for this is the data set size. So if you are familiar with machine learning, you know that if the data set size is small, that normal models will be much useful compared to neural networks. So that is one reason, one observation you can take out from this. So the future work that I have is going for a hierarchical based intent classification. So if you can look at this diagram, so you can divide the intents. So currently I take all intents, all the 56 intents in a flat hierarchy. So there is no relationship between them. Then I am classifying it. So another approach to go is like divide into different categories, then subdivide within the category. So you can have different categories at the first level, like saving, credit card, loans. Then once you do the classification accurately in that level, then we can identify others. Other categories belongs to that, like what is the interest of the saving account, or how I can get a new saving book, how can I get a saving ATM card. So but the key advantage of this is for some of the intents, the difference might be just one or two words. So if you do go for a flat based hierarchy, it is very difficult to capture that. So if we are going for a hierarchical based intent classification, we are expecting to capture that information. So that is yet to be done. So once that is done and the final classifier is best performing classifier is identified, we want to build an end-to-end chatbot and give it for user testing, and we wanted to objectively evaluate that. So that's all I have for this. So before I sign off, I want to remind you guys that remind everyone that we have a workshop that is happening tomorrow. So if you don't understand any of the jargons that we all use, like what is CNN, what is LSTM, you can please do attend this, and you can get in-depth knowledge in this. So it is being done in association with CDAC of La Trobe University, Australia. So hope to see you all tomorrow. And if you have any questions, I'm open for answer. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Kumaran. We'll give about 1 or 2 minutes to see whether we have any questions. Yeah, we had a lot of information. Hopefully, it was educational and informative. As Kumaran said, we will also be doing this workshop on deep learning tomorrow. Before that, a small announcement on the presentations that were given over here will be available. The recorded presentations will be available on the DataSearch official YouTube channel. We do have one question. Yeah, Kumaran, if you want to answer that.
The advantages of this approach is you don't have to use that. So without having a post tagger or entity extractor, you can classify the intent itself. So we use word embedding, so which capture the information about the relation between words. And so when you apply, that is what we are passing to a neural network or the machine learning models, and based on that you can classify. So it is basically a classification approach. So we are not looking at entity extraction. So entity attraction and those kind of methods will be works if you are going for a slot filling approach in chatbots, which we are not looking at. So that is, so entity will be anyway will be there in the sample examples that we give for each class.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, let me get back to the announcement. We will have the presentations available, and one more. Yeah, just one more question, Kumaran.
Yeah, so we are looking forward to it, and let's, as I said, like low resource languages, it is being a challenge, and there's no one way to look at it. So you can look at it from different perspectives. So it has 3 challenges, I would say. One is domain specific challenge that we have, and then we have the 2 challenges. One is domain specific challenge, and then another one is a language specific challenge. So it would be mostly it will be similar, I would say. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm getting back to the announcement for the 3rd time. Yeah, so we'll have the presentation available. Maybe 1 or 2 presentations we need to get permission from the speakers. As soon as that is available, we will have the presentations available. Once again, let me remind you to join us for this hands-on deep learning workshop tomorrow, conducted by the Center for Data Analytics and Cognition. And you will get a feel of, you'll be using Python, Google Colabs, and Jupyter Notebooks to get a hands-on workshop on deep learning. Yeah, let me thank once again all of you who are here. Who came for this seminar, and also the presenters, the students from the researchers from DataSearch, and also the invited the speakers that we got from around the world to come and present very interesting things on data science and how we can use data science for decision making. Yeah, let me say good night and thank you. Bye. Maybe 2 minutes.